Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That's Amin Elhassan. Amin, it's Trivia Tuesday, and last week you were out, so I was on the hot seat. I took an L against Jess Matana, but it was exhilarating nonetheless and a whole lot of fun. Thank God I'm back to my host seat, though, where I'm the trivia czar. It's a title that I hold dear. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. I'm sorry, did you win or lose last week?
I lost.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's something tells me it's rigged. I don't think that we're on the level here with the producers, but we'll see how it goes this week. Who do we have? Who's our guest this week?
This week, Amin, I'm so glad you asked. We have David Samson. You know him from his podcast, Nothing Personal with David Samson. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Happy to be here. I can't wait to go up against the master.
Yes, the master.
I have a feeling your first question is going to be, what color jersey do the Boston Celtics wear on the road? And mine's going to be some intricate cap minutia about Joel Embiid. But we'll see how the questions go.
I would like to mention that I've watched the previous episode, specifically the one with Mike Ryan, and I do not expect layups of that type because that was patently offensive what you did to Amin. I expect to be challenged. I don't want to be given anything here, Charlotte.
All right. Well, if they're not hard enough, I'll just make some up, David. Okay, we have 6 different questions for each of you about the past week in NBA news, and whoever gets the most right is the winner. It's a pretty basic sports formula that you are both familiar with. You're encouraged to think out loud, but you are only allowed one final answer. And in the event of a tie, a subjective tiebreaker question will be posed by me for the deciding point to win the game. Are we clear on the rules and are we ready to rock?
I'm ready. I just don't know what subjective means, but I don't think I'll need the bonus round to win, but we'll wait to see.
I already don't like this, but let's go.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't know why it said subjective in there either, but I trust our producers with my whole heart. Okay, David, we're going to start with you. Your first question. Oh, you're going to be offended by this, but I'm going to ask it to you anyway. On Sunday, Donte DiVincenzo had a confrontation with a coach when the Timberwolves played which Eastern Conference team?
Guys.
I mean, I'm not going to walk out of the room. I'm not going to pull a Le Batard, but I didn't assume that you'd ask me what team it was because obviously that's the Knicks. I assumed you'd ask me who it was with,
coach,
and I would have had to have said Rick Brunson.
Okay, and
yes,
you're right. So either way, you would have been offended. So I'm just gonna, and I'm just the messenger here. I am just the lowly host of all of this. David, here's my question for you: how can the Knicks and the Timberwolves capitalize on this feud to make money?
That's a funny question because it's not really a feud and they don't play each other except twice during the regular season. There's nothing to see here. It was my favorite thing, Much Ado About Nothing. You got a storyline out of it for preseason, which is more than you can hope for, other than the fact that Embiid said he won't play back-to-back the rest of his career. So other than that, it's just time for the regular season to start already.
Yeah, well, that's a hard statement to argue with.
Got another week. We got another week, guys, of manufacturing storylines.
I just can't wait for Celtics Knicks. We need that, and we need that soon. But Amin, your first question. Donte DiVincenzo was asked which of the remaining Nova Knicks, and our listeners will know that's and viewers, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, he would most rather hit a game-winning 3 over. What did he answer?
I'm gonna guess because this guy is the most kind of antagonistic of the group. It's not Brunson. Brunson's too nice of a guy. He wouldn't feel anything like that. Mikal, even though they're friends, being the new guy, I think that would kind of make things a little bit more awkward than it needs to be. I think it's Josh Hart. Josh Hart's the one the irritant, the one who makes all the jokes, the one on the podcast. It's going to be Josh Hart. Final answer.
All right. That was a trick question because it was Tom Thibodeau. The reporter asked which Nova Knick, and he answered, I'd prefer to do it in front of Tibbs. Now, I mean, do you think, I know David said this is Much Ado About Nothing. Do you think, Amin, that there's actual beef between Donte and Thibs?
No, I think So it's funny because before the game, Dante came out with a statement that was, I will say, I don't think completely factual. In that he said, "Oh, there was never an issue, and I had no problems with the trade and all that, and I was ready to go, and now I'm here, so I'm here." And he says, "I don't know where everybody's getting all this 'I was upset' stuff," and the reality is, he wasn't necessarily upset about Mikal Bridges or the trade, but he felt like he wanted to, or he was a starting caliber player in this league. He should play starter caliber minutes. He should be finishing games. And he was wondering and questioning whether that role would be available to him. And obviously the Knicks took that as well. I got to take this one little 1% chance that it might be an issue and treat it like a 99% chance that there's an issue. Also, they got Karl-Anthony Towns. So I don't know what we're doing here where career journeyman versus all NBA center. Yeah, right. You're going to get traded.
Right. It's just because some people had bought T-shirts that said the Big Ragu before the season started, and then the Big Ragu is no longer in the tri-state area. Okay, who will remain nameless? David, your second question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Last Friday, the Clippers and the Trailblazers played each other in a preseason game. Where did that game take place? You can think out loud. Let us know what's going on in your head.
This got very little attention, this game. So little that I'm hearing for the first time that it was in a different location. I'd like to say that I was paying attention to this fact. I wasn't. So here's my thinking. You only would ask it if it had not been, did they open Clippers Arena with that Hold on. I'm going to go with the Steve Ballmer 60 Minutes interview with the new Intuit Dome. I'm not going Abu Dhabi. I'm not going Shanghai. I'm not even going Milwaukee. I'm going to go, it was the first game at the Intuit Dome.
Folks?
Don't answer it. Can I steal? I want to steal. I would like to steal. Sure. Seattle. Here are the hints, David. There's always going to be the Blazers because they're in the Northwest, and then someone with some sort of Seattle tie. And in this case, it's Steve Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer does have Seattle ties. All right. I'm down one.
I forget
I'm not
that.
happy.
No, it's okay. You're tied. You're tied right now. David, how long do you think it'll be until the NBA announces the official move to Seattle for an expansion team?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm assuming in the next 5 years, and it'll be another example of a city that will spend more to get a team back than it would have had to spend to keep a team. And for whatever reason, cities keep forgetting that math, but they learn very quickly that when they lose a team, they want it back really badly.
Charlotte.
Well, you could also argue that the owners who bought the team only would have kept the team there if there were public money involved, which the city was not going to do.
Yeah, but they're going to do it now.
So is that on the city?
Oh, yeah, of course. And believe me, there will be public money involved in order for Seattle to get an expansion team.
Charlotte, I'd like to just report really quickly from my weekend at Hall of Fame.
Yes.
We're working diligently in the city of Seattle. I cannot divulge the name of the executive, but he is, let me just put it this way, a Hall of Fame executive is part of the team that is trying to get Seattle a franchise. So maybe 5 years, maybe what's that?
Who do you, David, start with you real quick, because then we have to get to a mean second question, but who do you think will own the Seattle team? If I would say Jeff Bezos would be the obvious answer because Amazon is there, but he's reportedly interested in the Celtics.
I think Bezos likes being a bridesmaid. He likes being suggested every time a team is for sale. It's going to be Bezos. It's going to be Bezos. And if he actually buys a team, then no one can say that anymore. But I think they have to get local ownership. My guess is it'll be a guy who was one of the first 20 people at Microsoft who you've never heard of, who is one of those quiet billionaires, and they want to become relevant in the way Steve Ballmer did. And they sometimes just creep up like weeds and you wouldn't even believe it. And they've got the money to do a deal like that.
Well, that was a trick question because it's actually me and I'm richer than anybody knew. Just kidding. Amin, your second question. How many active NBA players played on the Seattle Supersonics, currently active in the year 2024?
Kevin Durant. Jeff Green. Who else was on that team? Everybody else is retired or gone. Kevin
Is that your final answer?
Kevin Durant, Jeff Green. There might be a third. I can't think of who the third might be. I'm thinking of all the old players in the league right now because you have to be like, let me put it this way. Russell Westbrook never played in Seattle. His rookie year was the first year in Oklahoma. So if you got to think about someone who's older than Russell Westbrook and still playing right now, all I can think of is Durant and Jeff Green. Final answer.
Producer?
Yeah, okay.
He's right, folks. It's Kevin Durant and Jeff Green. They moved in 2008, and It feels like that's a lot longer ago than it should be. And it's sort of amazing that there are still two guys from that team active in the NBA, if you think about it.
And one of them is still one of the best players in the league. That's the other crazy part.
Yes, right. Anyway, okay, David, we're going to move on to your third question. And I'm gonna switch this up. You said you wanted a harder question. I'm gonna change this for you. Which NBA players are featured in the Netflix docuseries Starting Five?
He's a Netflix junkie. Come on, this is
Anthony Edwards.
Don't speak too soon. I mean, we have to see it happen.
Arvydas Sabonis' son, which is with Dom Sabonis.
And his name, Dom.
For short, can I go with that? You may need to not give me all the credit in the world.
Keep
LeBron
going.
James, Jimmy Butler. Did I say Anthony Edwards?
Started with Anthony Edwards.
I started with Anthony Edwards. So they go Minnesota. They went. I'm just going through it because it's fantastic. They go to Sacramento. They go to LA with LeBron. They go to Miami with Jimmy Butler. And the fifth one.
Who's that fifth guy?
I'm on episode 3 right now, and I'm having a moment because it's fantastic when I learned about Arvydas' son, which I hadn't known, which is insane. And I'm just filibustering because I'm furious with myself that I'm not going to get the
I'm going to cut
one.
you off. This is another example of Boston Celtics disrespect.
Jason
It was
Tatum.
Jason
God
Tatum,
dang it.
the first team All-NBA in 2024, David. Was that a bit? Are you doing a bit to me?
I had no recollection of Jason Tatum on the show because his parts were so much more vanilla than the others. But I really did enjoy seeing pictures of him as a kid and the whole story. But I happen to be loving the show so far, and it is what I'm currently watching. But again, I'm in episode 4.
All right. When we come back, folks, Amin's third question. Okay. I'm right here. Welcome back to Oddball. We're here with David Sampson for Trivia Tuesday. Amin is currently in the lead, which I do not know if it's how our producers drew this up, but David said he wanted harder questions, so I'm going rogue here, and I'm making these a little tougher. We have, the score is 2-1. Amin, it is time for your third question, and it's an audio cue. We're about to play you an audio clip of a player playing defense in a preseason game, and you have to tell us which player we are listening to. I have a hint for you if you want it.
Let me hear the audio. You might as well just play traffic. You might as well just.
Do you want to know who do you want to know who that person is guarding?
Sure.
Jalen Brunson.
I'm just gonna guess Big Ragu Dante DiVincenzo.
No, I'm sorry. The answer is Anthony Edwards.
I mean, that's outrageous. I
hadn't
on
heard
your
that,
behalf, I would like to say that entire question and the audio that accompanied it was outrageous.
The question is outrageous.
Okay.
The audio is outlandish. I mean, like if they had clean audio, then I'd be like, okay, maybe. But yeah, I was supposed to identify from just.
Okay, I'm going rogue here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how many points did Anthony Edwards average during the 2023-2024 season?
27.
You have to get it exact?
Yes, that is correct.
Really?
Yeah, it's 27.6.
Price is Right rules, man. You do not get credit for that.
Oh, no, he does because he was under.
He said 27.
27.6.
Yeah. And the answer is 27.6. Price is Right is you can't go over.
Oh, I thought you said 26.6 is what he actually averaged.
No, 27.
Oh, you nailed it, Amin. Good for you. That's a tough one.
We got to give credit there. David, your fourth question.
Real quick, I feel like the guy in Ghostbusters when Bill Murray is asking him, and then he's like, I don't know, a couple wavy lines, and he actually gets it right. But Bill Murray charges him anyway. Yeah. All right, question.
Okay. David, last week, Celtics majority owner Wyc Grousbeck laid out a timeline for selling the team that involves opening the bidding process in a month or so. One Celtics minority owner has publicly confirmed that they'll be making a bid. What is that person's name?
So this is a current limited partner who actually had the approval done already. And the thought was that he was going to bid and there wouldn't actually be an auction. And the question is, how will the father and son of Wyc and his father deal with this whole familial issue? And I wanted to say it's Steven Souza, but I'm really feeling the pressure. I feel like there's light on me. I'm schwitzing. I have no producers here. I have no makeup. And I did a whole segment on this on Nothing Personal. And so my final answer, it's his first name is Steven, and I can't think of his last name.
It is.
Half credit?
Should we give it to him, Amin? Yeah, we got to give it to you.
See, it is Steve Pagliuca.
Oh,
yeah.
But I like the idea of giving him the credit for it's Steve. Steve's the one that wants to buy the team. Yeah.
You know it so well that you're on a first name basis and you're like, well, it's Steve, obviously. What do you think the final price is going to be for the Celtics, David?
So it's going to depend on what assets are included. When you look at like the Dolphins, and they just sold, 13% at a valuation of over $8 billion, but that included F1, it included Hard Rock Stadium. And so what Wyc is doing, the question is what percentage will be sold, because it's unlikely to be the full amount. And if you're talking about enterprise value, that's the big number that you always hear, because that doesn't include debt. It's going to start with a 4 is my guess.
Really?
But that doesn't mean that Wyc is going to get $4 billion. That's not how that works. But I do believe the enterprise value will be 4 or above.
David, so the Celtics, they are a tenant. They do not own their building. They lease. And that lease, I think, goes for another decade at least. If you were buying a major league franchise and you did not get the building with it, obviously you'd want your own building. How much of a deterrent or at least a dampener on the price would be a long-term lease?
So I can actually argue that helps increase the price, not decrease it, because you get a new owner who says to himself, I can get myself out of this lease and I can get a new arena built, or I can renegotiate the terms. It's funny, when I helped sell the Marlins, we didn't want any long-term commitments. We wanted Jeter to think he could do it all and do it better than I did it. And therefore he would pay more because he could model the revenue as being higher than it is and pay a multiple on that phantom revenue. So I actually don't view that as a deterrent for a high price at all.
All right. Amin, your fourth question. As of Monday, which player is currently leading the NBA preseason in both assists and made threes? And I have a hint for you if you want it.
I'm just
and
It's not.
It's someone that you think it's someone that you view as not a serious person.
Oh, that's too much of a hint.
Well, what's your answer?
Jordan Poole. I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. Oh, no, come on. Not a serious person is Jordan Poole.
Well, okay. The answer is Peyton Pritchard.
That's not a hint. That's the opposite. You threw me off the scent.
No, how did I throw you? Whenever I say Peyton Pritchard, you say, oh, Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, but no, not a serious person is a very specific allegation. It's thrown to people like Jordan Poole. Who don't take any part of this seriously.
Here's the hint. He takes the buzzer beater half court threes in big moments.
That's someone who takes it very seriously. That's a serious person, because he's willing to sacrifice.
Okay.
He's willing to sacrifice his field goal percentage. That's not, he is not a serious person.
I know, but you have made jokes before about, Peyton Pritchard is your bench. So I was thinking, but you're right. It was my phrasing. I'm sorry. It was my wording. The hint
were like something like, you don't think this guy's a rotation NBA player, even though he is. Like,
okay, there you go. That was the hint that I should have given you. And I apologize. And that is on me. And we'll dock a point from my points, which you guys don't know. I have them. They're secret. No one can see them. David, your fifth question. The annual GM survey dropped last week. Who did NBA general managers vote as the best international player in the NBA last season?
So there's so many good international players now. And if they were voting correctly, I think there's really only one answer, and that is Luka. So I would assume they would have done that. And now, once upon a time, you would have gone with Giannis right immediately. But for me, when I analyze foreign-born players in the NBA, there's one and then there's everybody else. So I hope they said Luka.
Oh, David, you're forgetting Jokic. Nikola Jokic.
He's sort of good too. Dang it.
Here's something that was interesting to me from the GM survey about international players is that not a single person voted for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the best international player, even though he was in that MVP race. It was Victor Wembanyama and Luka over Shai, which I thought was a little bit crazy.
I don't think that's they don't respect him. I think that's literally they're not paying attention. Look, let me be honest. I don't know, David, if you've ever had to do one of these. The GM survey, they email it to you. You don't look at it, and then they email you again like, yo, it's due on Monday. I'm like, okay, Luka. And that's how they answer these things. No one's like, well, technically, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a Toronto native, and he did represent Canada. They're not doing that math because he's not coming top of mind to them.
The way you know that for sure is that if you would send the same survey to the same GM 14 days later and said, please replicate your previous submission, about 5% would be able to replicate their submission. The other 95 would just do it again with likely different answers.
Yep.
Wow, that's true. That's how I would do it. We're running short on time, so we're going to make today, instead of 6 questions, it's going to be 5 questions. So, your final question is, in this GM survey, GMs were asked which team's level of success this season is toughest to predict. What team did most general managers select?
Philadelphia, because of all the injury concerns.
Well, you would think that would make a lot of sense.
Can I steal?
The Lakers. Oh, sorry.
You jump.
What were you going to say, David?
I would love to say I was going to say the Lakers, but for me, I was going to say the Warriors.
Also very good. The truth of the matter is there are a lot of teams in this year NBA that I think are very difficult to predict, which is partly why I am so excited for this season to start, because I think it's going to be one of those where we're like, wait, what? When it comes to the playoffs and we see what those seedings are. Unfortunately, David, you did not beat Amin Elhassan. Amin remains undefeated, even though that first one was a tie and the questions were very, very difficult. Thank you so much for joining us. Would you recommend a Trivia Tuesday experience to another Meadowlark coworker?
Well, they really have to understand the rules of engagement. And I can't say that I was given any rules other than don't be nervous. That was the preparation I was given.
Nice.
And I don't know what kind of preparation that is. I'm never nervous. But if I'd known to look at box scores for the preseason or to pay attention to scoring leaders,
David,
I think I would have done better.
You said you would be offended if the questions were too easy. So you can't come in here with that energy and then be upset when the questions deliver.
You did kind of bring it upon yourself.
Yeah, you did deliver, Charlotte. You guys always deliver. That's why Oddball is such a great show, because you guys consistently deliver greatness. Hard to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, truly. Gentlemen, this has been a pleasure. Amin, you're undefeated. Mm-hmm. You have 10 seconds to tell me how you feel about it.
Well, I feel... I feel all right. I think I'm wondering if the extra point I got from stealing David's question was probably a little unfair in retrospect. I do also want to take this opportunity to remind everybody that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, and there is no debate, there is no conversation, not after this Hall of Fame weekend.
That's all we have for Oddball. Thanks for watching.